Good day, everyone, and how are you? Morning, Fernando.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What we got going on here today is, as you can tell, it's a Jeep, but this one's gonna be a little different. I'm kind of excited about it. Two things are going in it that we haven't used before. Let's take a look. The first thing going in is this guy right here, the i207 WRA. Now this is just a regular ILX 207, but the WRA means it comes with a specific Jeep dash kit. These two white boxes right here are metal dash kits, so that's really cool. Looking forward to putting that in. The second thing is this guy right here. Now what this is this is a box that Alpine makes with a 10-inch woofer that's designed to go under this seat right here, which is normally where we put the amplifier, but today we'll be putting it underneath the driver's seat. So those are two things that we haven't had the opportunity to play with, so we're pretty excited about that. Now, that's not the end of it. The other thing that's going in this is some Pioneer Z-Series components in the front and Z-Series coaxials in the back. These guys right here. We're also putting in the high-res Kenwood X901.5. That's the 5-channel with the new bass knob. So this system ought to sound really, really nice. It's full high-res, so it's high-res from front to back. He uses Tidal. It's got an iPhone, so iPhone with Tidal is now a CarPlay compatible app. We're also going to, because the radio only has one USB output, we're going to retain his factory center console one using this guy right here. This is a Hub Volt Max. And then we're going to take his cigarette lighter out and we're going to put an HDMI USB there because the 207 still has an HDMI and his wife would like to do Waze, so she's gonna do it over HDMI. We have the hood up already because we're gonna put a fuse holder underneath it, naturally. Is that about it?
That's about it.
Oh, we're doing a backup camera. Forgot. So we're going to do one of the cool little down here, one of the little guys that goes here. So this ought to be interesting. Figure that out. We're going to use this camera right here, the Cam 01. We've done that before. That's about it. Is that about it?
That's about it.
Let's get started. What are we doing to mount the speakers? What do we got here? What is this?
Well, this is the Alpine bracket.
Just a standard.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're trying to use it. The problem that we find it's
obviously a little too big.
the bracket is too small. So
Either way, it doesn't fit.
doesn't fit. But
We made that one.
we have one, so
All
this
right.
one fits perfect. We're gonna make some panels.
This is the 1/8 inch with the aluminum on the both
Yes.
sides. So this is a little bit more rigid, but we need it thin so that it'll still fit up behind the grill because this tweeter is very excited. This is sign board that we get from the sign shop. As long as you pre-drill the holes, it works great. All right, so you're gonna router 4 of those out.
Yep.
Have fun.
Thank you.
And while he's doing that, the excitement of opening up this box is just getting to me. I want to see this box. I want to see it. So let's open this thing up. So in the box we get, it looks like a 12 gauge harness that's going to plug in. Looks nice and waterproof, and it locks, so that's cool. Thank you for choosing Alpine. Important notice, please read first. Limited warranty. No instruction. Let's take it out and see what it looks like. Oh yeah. Wow. So it's not some little wimpy fake magnet, small power handling. It's a big magnet subwoofer. Look at the size of that. Wow, that's pretty nice. I'm impressed. I'll be really impressed if it sounds good. Obviously that's key, but they didn't use some little crappy small magnet thing like a lot of these pre-made boxes use. All right, we're gonna get it back together. We're gonna see. I'm assuming all I have to do is unbolt the seat, slide this thing under. We're gonna find out. I'll meet you guys over at the passenger seat. We have the bolts for the seat out, so now we can lift it up. And really, this is the main thing I see that's in the way is these two brackets here. This is attached through some Torx here on the side. So we're gonna go ahead and remove these off of here. Let me get my panel tool. So we have those off. Now normally when we put the amplifier in here, what we do is unscrew this and we actually flip it over so that how it hangs low here, it's not, it's up higher. I think for this, we're actually just gonna have to remove it. All right, let me go grab the box and we'll see what that does. So it fits under there, but I'm just kind of concerned with the way these cables are. I'm gonna have to figure this out. So I have it in, I think, the way it's supposed to be. I don't know if they designed this with a carpet kit in the car or not. It almost feels like they didn't. They would have made it just like an 1/8 of an inch smaller in some places. It would fit a lot better. I mean, it goes in, but you're definitely gonna have to do some finagling. There's gonna be no way to get it in there without, you know, the plastic not getting some scratches on it, because the seat is going to crush into the box to hold it in place. And I don't mean like crushing in a bad way. I mean like that's what's gonna hold it. There's no mounting brackets for this, so it literally seat rail, floor, pinched between the two, done. And I did figure out where you're supposed to run the airbag wires or the airbag sensor wires in the seat. Hold on, let me flip this up and I'll show you. So the two wires here, if they come this way, if you notice there's this groove right here where it's indented. If you just set these over onto the side like this, you want to keep these things loose because they're gonna move. But this rail allows it to ride along there without any issues. That's where these want to go, and then you can slide the seat forward. This guy here never actually touches the top of this, but as you can see, like here, when you're bringing this sharp metal seat down, it's got to kind of slide forward like this as you put the seat on top of it. And then the seat, as you can see here and here, is what's gonna hold this thing in place like this. And you have to kind of push it forward some once you get it in there, because you have to get this seat bolt. It wants to sit back 1/4 of an inch. That's why I feel like if they had made this a little bit shorter here, wouldn't have been an issue. It would have snugged right up in there. My one concern at this point, without actually seeing it, is that the way the floor is designed, the very back of the woofer is actually going to be resting on the carpet. Maybe I would have designed this with a grill so that it would, you know, push down, wouldn't be an issue there. So at least we know it's gonna fit. That's a big plus. Check that one off the list. We're gonna go ahead and take it out for right now. When it comes time, we'll go ahead and put this in, run the wire over to the other side where we're gonna put in the amplifier underneath the driver's seat. So we gotta make a bracket for that. Still gotta we got a lot to do. Let's go to the backup camera. I want to get started on that guy there. We have a little bit different way we do that now, and I'll tell you why when I get back there. All right, what did you end up doing with the crossover to keep it out of the elements?
So we mount the crossover inside the box.
Oh, there's plenty of room?
Yes, plenty of room.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that looks nice.
Run the wires, hook it up inside. The tweeter come out on this side, like this. This is gonna be your wire.
Oh, those are nice looking. Can't wait to hear how they sound in this. For the back of his car, he's got this tire cover here that he has on it, so he doesn't want to do a cool camera up here. He likes whatever this is better. He's got this cover here. We're gonna go ahead and take this guy off, and we're gonna turn this into a camera. And then we'll have the wire go through here and up inside the car. First, we need to go ahead and get this EE off of here so we have a nice flat area to mount. So go ahead and cut off as much of that EE as you can. Use some kind of a blade. Now we're gonna drill a hole for the camera. Customer provided us with this probably way too expensive Jeep one. Personally, I like the Reese one. It's a little bit harder plastic, but we'll see how this one works out. All right, so there we go. That's what it's gonna look like mounted. Now what we need to do, the real key, is prepping this cable. And let me go show you why the prep is the most important. We've actually changed the way we've done the prep on this because of one guy. So what we've been doing in the past is loom, 2 layers of tape, and making sure that it stays away from this guy right here, the exhaust, so it comes out of this. this, and then it goes up into the car. Unfortunately, not everyone gets that, and we had one customer that went ahead and played with it, and then he left the wire hanging on the exhaust pipe, and as you can assume, he burnt the cable. So now what we do is we're gonna put the cable in some conduit so that it's more rigid. We don't have that problem. So we're gonna go ahead and get this out of here, lift this guy up, take out the jack. This is what we want to get right here. This is what we're going to use to come up through, so we're going to cut a hole out of here. So on this camera, they have this cool little silver flag on this little green wire that says cut this loop to deactivate the parking guidelines. Now the Alpine radio has great guidelines, so we're actually going to go ahead and cut this. We'll go ahead and cover this in some shrink wrap. What we're going to do is we're going to add a layer of tape to this. We're gonna add a layer of flex loom. We're gonna add another layer of tape to it, and then we're gonna run it through this, just in the portion that's outside. We have our 2 layers of tape and our flex loom. We're gonna go ahead and put it in there and kind of measure where this needs to be for our harder stuff. So there we go, we have it all made up. Go ahead and see what this guy looks like in the back of the car. So as you can see now, this metal loom is a lot more rigid, so we put the hole in the center that's going to keep it like this, which is a very far distance away from the exhaust. And with all the insulation we put on it, we don't have to worry about any heat issues. We know that because we never had heat issues before. It was just when the guy let it sit like that. Even though we explained it to him, it happens. This will totally avoid that. And then if they need to get it out, obviously they can just pop this off and they'll be able to slide the whole wire out and still use it. It's just one option that's available for a Jeep. I mean, if you're going to be constantly using your hitch, then I would suggest ditching the cover and going with it there. They like the cover more than they use the hitch, so this is what works for them. Everyone's a little bit different. But if you have to make one of these, triple insulation, a little bit of that conduit on the outside, a little bit of shrink wrap, nice and secure. Now as far as the rest of this camera goes, you have this guy here, which has the little cool switch on it for normal or mirror, and then you have this wiring right here. And on the end of the cable, we have this joyous connector right here, which is the red with the RCA that's gonna plug into the camera. Now we've done a whole video on how this RCA works. If you guys, it's like camera, I don't know, backup camera 101 or backup camera 102 or more backup camera information. Anyways, basically what we're gonna do is this red wire here and this red wire here are the same red wire. They design it this way so that you can use this to hook up to the reverse lights, power up the camera, and also go forward and trigger the radio. Problem with that is you really don't want to use the reverse lights to power up the camera if the radio has the ability to turn on the camera when you're not in reverse, which this one does. So we want to make sure the camera has power with accessories so that you can view when not in reverse. So what we're going to do with this is we're just going to go ahead and cut it and cap it off. And then this ground here is going to be the ground for the camera, so we will need to go ahead and connect that. Now the first thing we want to do is go ahead and insulate it up so that it's nice and protected, because this is going to go back in there by the jack. We don't want it to get bumped or anything. About 12 inches of this is probably going to be exposed, so we'll add the tape to that, and then we're also going to go ahead and add a layer of flexible sleeving to the whole thing. Alright, so our cable's all insulated up. We have our flexible loom all down it. Let's go ahead and get this into the car. Alright, so we have the camera wire ran. Let's go ahead and get the dash apart. For those of you unfamiliar with doing that, panel here that comes off makes it easier just to get up to the microphone that's up here. You have to pull the panel underneath the steering wheel control. There's 2 7s here. Drop this down. Up in the top here, there's also 7. And then behind the window controls is another 7. And then there's 4 7s that hold in the radio. And then we also need to get down below where the air conditioning controls are. That's where the factory USB and the Uconnect system is going to be. There's no screws holding this, and it just pops off, and then a bunch of plugs. But there is 2 screws that hold the Uconnect module. Screw here, screw down here, this one here, and then lift this up. And right here, this plug is the factory USB, so just go ahead and pull that out. And then make sure when you're done, you do screw this back into place. You don't want this banging around in there. The other thing we need to get out is this metal bracket right here. Alright, everything is out of the dash that we needed to get out. Let's take a look at this plug real quick. We talk about this all the time. Is this an 8 or a 4? There's either going to be 4 or 5 on this row, and then 4 on that row. If it has 5, that 5th one is going to be the amplified antenna. The Jeeps don't have that. So this has all 8, which means it's a non-amplified stereo, which is good because we're putting in an amplifier. Let's get over to the bench and we'll unbox the i207 WRA and see what makes it different from just a normal 207. Inside of the box that this radio comes in, there's these 2 white boxes here. There is a thank you, please read Alpine. There is a read before installation, and then there's an install guide. This one they give us an install guide on, which is really nice. On the side of the box, there's also a sticker that lists all the parts that are inside of Big Brown Box. Inside the radio, this guy here, this big bag, you know, because we've showed Alpines, they come with big bags, is this guy. This is the ALP MRR. This is the Maestro RR that's Alpine specific. You still need to flash this, so you still have to go through all the process that's involved in flashing this guy here. But then inside this bag, the RR harness that you would normally buy, all set, ready to go. It has the Alpine end on it. It's all, we don't have to do anything here as far as prepping the harness goes, so that's kind of nice. You also have the second bundle over here. This is to retain the factory USB. This is to retain the factory antenna. This is to program the RR. This is our OBD2 connector, and this is a power, ground, and accessory output of some kind. Inside the bag, we still have our Bluetooth mic. We have our one USB extension. We have our RCAs, our lock for the HDMI, and our GPS antenna. Even though this doesn't have GPS, it's to help CarPlay and Android Auto. And then our mount for our microphone. Now, this guy right here, this little cable, what this is designed to do is this is the camera input adapter if you're not using Alpine's Jeep camera. On the harness here, you have an input for it that's just gonna attach like that. That's all the wiring that it comes with. We'll set all that right here for right now. We'll open up the first box, and in the first box, we have the little wingies that go on the side of the radio. As you can see, these are made out of metal. These are really nice, and they have a design similar to that of the radio. We have a right and a left. Really nice kit there. And then in the second box, that little piece that we removed earlier to mount the back of the radio is this metal bracket right here. This is a replacement for that. And then what it allows us to do is screw in that top screw in the dash kit that normally gets lost is made to go back up in this. So what we have to do is pop out this guy here out of this one, pop it into this guy here, screw this guy back in the dash using those same screws, and this is designed to hold the back of the radio so that the radio doesn't move around. So this is supposed to be a super rigid kit. Now for those of you guys that have never seen a 207, this is the 207 here. It's a double din face with a single din bottom chassis. So this will go like this here and hold the back of the radio. Just by looking at this and the amount of cables, I can tell you it's gonna be fun to try to get all this through that. So anytime we get one of these big harnesses like this, what we want to do is mock it all up, plug everything in, make sure that even though it's all taped up, that they did a good job taping it up for one, so that we can add in all the pieces we want to. And plus we have a little tiny hole we have to get this through, so we have to make sure we can do that. Well, I gotta be honest with you. You could probably use it just like this and fight it for a while and get it all in there. I'm not down for that. I'm gonna redo it as far as just rerun this and reroute it, because this just looks like it's gonna be a pain to try to get all of this through here. Plus there's some unnecessary wiring on here that we're not gonna be using, and this is gonna, yeah. So I'm gonna cut it apart, but yeah, you could definitely just plug this in and be done with it if you wanted to. So check this out. So this whole bundle of wires here, this was just taped up like this underneath the thing. Like they had something, they cut it off and they just taped up over it. This is a constant 12 volts, a ground and an accessory, just hidden up underneath here.
With no
nothing. Are you kidding me? What kind of What is that? Constant 12 volts, that's an accessory, that's a ground. I don't know what it is, but these were just taped up underneath, no caps on them or anything. All right, there we go. So we have the harness redone, and okay, so first things, remove two of the harnesses that weren't gonna be needed. This is for the factory Alpine camera. This is for the HDMI expansion. We don't need either one of those for this install, so we went ahead and pulled those out. Went ahead and fixed those exposed wires that were in the harness. It had this was for powering one of those modules. This plug here, we're gonna use this so that we can attach this to our camera so that we can plug in for our camera that we're adding. This is going to be for the speaker wires that are going to the amplifier, so this will plug in there, but this way it'll easily feed through this bracket here. Won't get all caught up. It's spread out a little bit better. Bluetooth mic plugs in here. This looks like it'd be a little bit more functional than what they had. Now what we want to do is go ahead and get this all unplugged because we don't need it plugged into the radio right now. We want to go ahead and add the brackets onto the radio. I'm going to unplug the RR because this is, as usual, always gets plugged in last. So what we want to do is grab the bag of screws that's with the HDMI lock. They have a stamped R and L. So go ahead and tip this guy up like this. It's gonna look pretty nice in there. So now that the radio harness is all figured out, brackets are in, Fernando's almost done, if not done with all the speakers. Are you done with the speakers? Yeah. He's done with the speakers. Couple things that are left. Bluetooth mic, GPS antenna, mounting and doing all the amplifier. That's the big one that's left. What I need to do now is pull the bolts on the seat, figure out how we're gonna make the bracket. Basically gonna be the same as we normally do, just on the opposite side. Start getting those wires all tucked in and, well, they ain't built in the box. So we still got a lot to do there. So I'm gonna start pulling the seat out. This amplifier being the way it is, you have all this exposed area here. I really don't want this side out towards the door just in case they take the doors off. So I want to keep it inside. So we're going to have all the wiring come out this way. So I want to move it as far into the car as I can. So I'm thinking right about there seems to be where I want to put it. I'm going to make the first cut 24 inches by 13. And then I'm going to come in and sculpt it to fit this area. I want to be able to mount it underneath the driver's side rear bolt and then put a rivet here to screw it into so that it doesn't flop around. We're going to use some 1/4 inch ABS, so I'm going to head over to the saw now and grab that real quick and I'll be right back. So we have our piece of plastic. Now what we want to do is make our first cut, which is going to be removing this bottom portion here. So we're going to come out and that's going to put us at 5. Come over this way, 8. So we have our basic layout here. We're gonna go cut this out real quick and then we'll bring it back and we'll do a few more trims. So we just got one little piece here that we need to remove. Other than that, this is how I want it to look. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. I'll meet you guys over on the workbench. As we mentioned earlier, we're gonna retain center console and we're gonna use that as a charge only. And to do that, we're gonna use the hub volt, which is this guy right here that Fernando's playing with. So what it is it's just a standard USB right there, and it's got this cool charger. Because we're taking out the cigarette lighter and we're replacing it with the USB HDMI, we're gonna use the power that went to the old cigarette lighter to power up the factory USB using the adapter that came with the Alpine radio, plugging that into the hub bolt, and then this guy in here will charge a device. And then he'll use the new USB that we're putting in where the cigarette lighter goes, do CarPlay. Is that a little confusing?
Yeah.
But it's all gonna work in the end, right?
Right.
That's all that really matters. This is the shape that we were after. I also went ahead and heated this area up right here with our torch and put a slight S-bend in it, as you can see here. That just helped to raise this up a little bit. Drilled the hole for the seat bolt. This is where our front rivet is gonna go. The amplifier is gonna sit just like this. So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and get this thing screwed down and get this thing wired up. Amplifier is all set and ready to go. Everything is zipped down and secure. Now the plan is to go ahead and get this in and button this thing up so that we can take a listen to it. So we still got a little bit of time left. Man, we gotta run all the wires and you know, the radio's still out, but dang, we're getting closer and it feels good. Fuse holder is in and mounted. So this is mounted into here, 1/4" ABS. If you'll notice, most of the engine bay is made out of what, Fernando?
ABS plastic.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that, a lot of ABS. All zip tied up and good. Check one more thing off the to-do list. So the amp is screwed in. Went ahead and put a screw here with a threaded rivet in place. So that is all set and ready to go. The wires are ran, they go up the side here to cross. They're sitting right here, they still need to go up. We're gonna mount the bass knob. Customer wants it in this area right here. You ready? Fernando's gonna work on the bass knob. I'm gonna go get that subwoofer in underneath the seat and he's gonna help me fish these cables up. We're so close. Sub is underneath the seat. So this is a special break in the video. This is unheard of. So we're doing the part 2, which you guys are watching now on the Jeep. My hands are dirty, sorry. You'll see why in a minute. And we were talking about the Alpine box and how I felt like it might have been designed with no carpet intended. We have another Jeep and it's got no carpet and it's getting an Alpine box. What are the odds? And I hadn't published the video yet, so check this out. Guy has no carpet kit. He has no intentions of putting a carpet kit ever in here. He drives with the top, the doors, and that is rain.
And we're getting those heavy downpours could move in.
So this is gonna get wet. Alpine box fits in here perfect without the carpet as we assumed it would. Let me lift this up. So the box goes in there, it sits in, the seat folds down, it doesn't get in the way, and it still rubs, as you can see from the corners there, the corner there. It sits in there really nice and there's nothing in the way of it. So the other thing too is this is the older Jeep. As you can see from the dash here, it's a little bit different than the other dash. This is the previous generation. The seats are different, like this doesn't have airbags and all that stuff under it. Thinking that the thought was, you know, one ring to rule them all, one box to fit everywhere. Let me show you what we did in the dash too, because it's really cool. This Jeep won't be in a video. I was late today because I had some stuff to do, so we didn't record it, but check this out. So up in the dash, that's the Kenwood Marine 600x1. This is a short chassis radio here. And then underneath the radio is a second amplifier. That is the 300x4. So we needed to put them somewhere where they'd say kind of dry. They are the cool little ATV amplifiers, so they're conformal coated. That's the Marine Kenwood short chassis radio, so we were able to fit them all up in the dash. I'll have pictures up on Instagram for you guys to check those out if you want to see what that actually looks like without the radio in place and with the radio in place. Back to part 2. thing. So for the bracket here, we went ahead and removed on the bottom, there's a piece of metal between the two pieces that are to hold the radio. I see there's gonna be problems trying to get all these wires through there.
Wow, that's so nice.
That wasn't as bad as I thought.
I mean, you got plenty of room in the back. Look at that.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking this one is to
gonna
go all the
way farther. So yeah, it wasn't as bad as we thought. It actually slid right in. There's plenty of room behind the radio for all this stuff. Hold on, let's get this all plugged in and make sure it works. And make sure anytime you're putting in one of these iData harnesses that it just really pushes tight. It should blink like red, 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 and then go green. If it keeps blinking red, 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 that means it didn't get the right serial number.
Yeah.
What's the weather like today?
Sound.
Yeah, I mean, other than that. What radio features? We got backup camera, CarPlay works,
Serious free.
Serious free works. Make sure that this USB is charging. All right, so preliminary tests are good. We'll finish getting the radio screwed in the dash, getting this dash kit back together. So we just did the initial test on it to make sure that everything worked. That's a good thing. So the sub is working, the CarPlay is working, the speakers are all working. We're gonna do a polarity check next. We have everything working. Now we need to go to the tunes. So we're gonna grab the DD1, then we're gonna grab the iTest mic. He listens to jazz and classic rock. That ought to be an interesting little mix there. All right, all the speakers are moving the same direction. I'm gonna head under to where Fernando's sitting right there, because that's where the amp is. We're gonna do some distortion detecting. Yay, we're so close to being done. At the end of the day, really, after working on it, don't you feel like the tune is like the best part?
Yes.
All right, so we have a 1000 hertz test tone playing, and we have our distortion detector here. We're gonna go ahead and we have signal.
All the way up.
And we have it all the way up. That's awesome. Let's check the rear. It's the same. Let's come over here and we'll go to 40 hertz. That's that guy there, 40 hertz. And I have the subwoofer volume up, so we have no distortion. Let's start turning up some gains. That's distortion, back it down a little bit. All right, let's go back to 1000 hertz. The front channel. All right, distortion. All right, down a little bit. Let's just see where the rear channel distorts at. Chances are good. We don't want the rear channel that loud. We just want it to be competitive. All right, so there's the rear. All right, there's none. Okay, we're good there. We have this set up for clip. Now it's time for the fun part. We're gonna listen to it. We're gonna check our crossovers. We're gonna grab the iTest mic, and we're gonna play a little bit of pink noise, a little bit of classic rock, and apparently a little bit of jazz. Oh goody.
No.
You don't think it's
No, because they like right there.
Yeah.
You can actually, I can
know,
hear
they're
it.
bugging
Like,
the shit out of me.
yeah.
We have the crossover points that I think we're gonna be happy with. We have it where we want it. You like it?
Yeah.
You happy?
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Let's go over real quick what we think of everything. Let's talk about the radio real quick. Obviously, we know it's a 207. Pleasantly surprised with the kit.
Yes.
Actually, we were thinking the worst, and it went in really smooth.
Really.
The only trouble we had was just getting the top lined up, but I feel like, you know, we have that problem anyways.
Yeah.
This is way sturdier than anything we've ever done. I mean, normally you'd do this and the whole thing would move. So that looks really sharp. Now, it does add about $100 onto the price of the radio. If you were to buy all the same parts, it's about $100, maybe 80 bucks. Either way, it's one of the first times we actually got to put this screw back in, right?
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Z-Type Pioneer speakers, what's your thought?
Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you on that one. I mean, I know this is like two positives in a row, but
I mean, we put the speakers before.
we did the cheaper ones though. These are the higher end Z's.
Yes.
So these are the full Mac Daddy Z-Types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. Yeah.
I'm impressed. You know, we have some on the board and they sound okay, but this is nice. Subwoofer.
Yeah.
What do you think of the subwoofer? Be honest.
I'm not a fan, you know. it's like right here, it's just like
Jiggling your,
yeah,
jiggling
no.
your boys.
Exactly, and
It's sitting over in this seat, it just sounds weird. Don't get me wrong. I'm used to the sub coming from behind me. I know it's non-directional. It's just right there.
I mean, it
underneath
doesn't
the
sound
seat.
bad.
No.
It doesn't sound bad. It sounds good
Yes.
for that type of music that he's listening to.
Well, yeah, the other thing too is I think like the criteria. If you don't want to take up any space in the back of the Jeep,
Correct.
you want something that's waterproof, you want some bass, you want to not have to worry about it, that's a great alternative.
Yes, that's a great option.
I recommend it. I mean, I'm not for it, but if you're looking for some real down and dirty like pop bass, you know, like that's not gonna do it for you.
No.
But it's very complete. Like the music we're listening to, we played some Rippingtons, we played some Spies from back in the day. I mean, it was right on, man. It was hitting that note. It was giving that nice pop, 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 pop sound.
Correct.
I mean, you know, it's hard, you know, because it's like I want it to get down and dirty. He wants it to get down and dirty, and that's not what we're doing here. So we can't let that bias affect what we're doing.
Yeah.
All in all, and the new amplifier with the bass knob.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can you think of anything else that I missed?
That's it. Backup camera works fine.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, this is another Jeep in the can, as they say. This is done.
Yeah. On to the next one.
You guys have a great night. Bye. So now that this one is done, this is a little bonus feature at the end of part 2, letting you hear it. The one complaint I have about that woofer is that there's no brackets to mount it. And with the no carpet, it just kind of vibrates around. So we had to fabricate some lifters to stick underneath it so that it pinched in like the one we just showed you did. We did that, doesn't vibrate, sounds good. On to the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.